Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to create a sketch of these motors. We're going to need these motors to power our designs. And in order to do that, we need to know what the heck they look like. We'll want it in the end, we'll build a CAD model of these. But today, we're going to take and make a 3-view sketch of these motors so that we can use them in our designs. We're going to get all the measurements, all the necessary information about these motors. Taking a look right here, we can see that the motors are not terribly large. They're about the size of our fingers. They can be shown in a couple different views. We want to try to collect this information. You can see that they're flat on the top and bottom, flat on the front and back. We got a shaft coming out the end. There's a round shaft, and if you look at it from the front, you can see that it's circular with the top and the bottom cut off. So the first thing I'm going to do is decide how we're going to orient this. If I'm going to line this up with the isometric view I've already got, you see the front is over here, right is over here, top is up here. So front view looks like this, right view looks like this, and top view would look like that, and that would line us up with the existing view on our paper. Now, if I didn't have this already, I'd have to make a decision which one I want to go with, but that's where we're going to go. All right. Next thing I'm going to do is decide how big I want to make this. Probably want to make this a little bigger than it is right now. These things are pretty small, so it's kind of difficult to sketch details when they're really that small. So we're going to make it a little bit bigger. Now, this is a freehand sketch, so we're not going to be super concerned with how big the parts are compared to each other, but we're going to try to do our best to make it look okay. So without further ado, let's get started. Go ahead and draw the front. The front is kind of a rectangle with the rounded sides. So I'm going to go ahead and sketch a baseline. My paper already has a baseline on it, but I want to sketch what I'm going to create for the top. And then we'll sketch the width. And let's go ahead and work on the sides. And let's find the center. There's about center. There you go. And from above, I'm making things about twice as big as they are. So I'll go about twice. So about 1, about 2. I'm not using a measured scale, but I am estimating things to be about twice as big as they are in the real world, just to make it easier to see. Okay. Make sure things line up from view to view. Makes it a lot easier to get it right in the long run. So you can see. There we go. Let's see the back of this thing. So we got a cap on the back. Cap. Around the corners. Some tabs. Holes in them. These are the power connectors right here. Those are important. That's where the power will connect to the motor. Let's see. Okay, transferring that measurement over here, do about the same. We keep things about the same. We'll just use our pencil as a rough measuring guide. Okay. Notice I'm putting guidelines in here, construction lines to help me line things up. Take a look at that. Those tabs. Don't forget about the axle hole. Okay. So that covers the basic shapes. Next step would be to get some measurements on this thing. So let's figure out what what measurements we actually need. Of course, we need to know how big this thing is overall. So let's go ahead and get to mention the longest overall measurement. That'd be front to back. We're gonna need always need to know what the total size of something is. So there's your overall length. There's your overall height. Overall length, overall height, width. We can define that in a couple different places. We can go ahead and define our width overall right here. So length, height, width, showing each of those. Let's look at some of the other important details. We're going to need the length of that spindle. That's an important detail. As you're doing this, you got to decide what's really important and what isn't that important. So we need to put gears on the spindle of the motor. So figuring out the exact size of the spindle, that'd be really useful. We need to be able to put this thing in a holder, clamp it in. So how big the body is going to be really important. The depth of this plastic part is probably not super important because we're not going to modify that much. The location of the tabs, that could be important. That would be important because we don't want to cover those up. So, the length of this portion of the body, for example, that would be really important. So that if we want to create a holder that holds it, we can hold it by the metal part and leaving those tabs exposed. The length of that spindle is important. The diameter of that spindle is important. The diameter of the bushing around the spindle, that could be important. I don't know whether it is yet or not, but we can dimension that. So as it stands right now, I think we have most of the major measurements. So we've got the width overall, we've got the height overall, we've got the length overall, we've got the length of our spindle, we've got the length of our metal case, which is going to be important because that's where we would want to hold the thing. We've got, did I mention the diameter of the spindle? Hey, what the heck did my screen go? There we go. So here we have at it. So let's go ahead and start taking some of these measurements. All right, before we start measuring, make sure that our indicator is on the 0. So let's go ahead and close out the caliper, set the indicator on the 0, tighten that down. And let's measure length overall. And 1.490. Here we go, put that in place. Take a look at what we got. All right, we're almost at 1.5. So we're at 1.4. Well, you can see that 62. 1.462. So 1 inch, 462 thousandths. Measure the depth of that, the length of that spindle, and put that on against the face of the caliper. Slide that down, spin it around. We're at 0 inches, 310. 300, so that's 310 thousandths. 0, 3, 1, 0. Let's get the diameter of the spindle. All right, 0 tenths, 78 thousandths. So 0 tenths, 78 thousandths. So 0 inches, 0 tenths, 78 thousandths, 0.078. Let's go with the width overall. Mm-hmm. 0 inches, 7 tenths, 81 thousandths. So you can see, get that right there. 0 inches, 7 tenths, 81 thousandths. 0.781. All right, now how long is the metal portion of the body here? Let's go ahead and measure that. That one is going to be a little trickier because I don't have a specific spot, so this is going to be a bit of an estimate. A little harder to measure. If I took the plastic cap off, I could definitely get a good measurement. But I'm not going to do that. We'll just go line it up. You can see we're just shy of 800 thousandths, so we're going to 0.896. 0.796. 0.796. So we were almost exactly at the 800 thousandths mark there. But you can see we're just shy at the side of the 0. So we're almost to the 8. So just a little short 8, 796. So that makes sense. 796 thousandths. Let's measure the width of these tabs. Okay. You can see we're at 1/10 and 14 thousandths. 14, yeah. So let's measure the width of that. So this 0 inches, 1/10, 14 thousandths. All right, so that should be enough to get us started. We might find some other details as we work. We go take this over to CAD that we'll need to model and or need to measure, but this is a great start. Let's break this down into shapes that we'll need to model. I can see if I want to make this, I've got, let's see, 1 circle, 2 circles, 3 circles, and a fillet. So if I'm going to draw this, I probably want to break this down a little bit more when I go to model this. But that's a circle with the top and the bottom chopped off. That's 2 circles. We've got some extrusion depths here that we need to figure out. We've got that in multiple phases. We have, what else do we have? So diameter of the circle, diameter of that circle, diameter of that circle, and depth. It's pretty straightforward, yeah. So draw 1, 2, 3 circles, chop the top of 1 circle off, chop the bottom of that same circle off, and you should be able to extrude that, getting this basic body here, and then we can extrude this second cap. And then we could extrude this circle back through the other side if we want, though. Oh, you know what? That size is different. So let's check that real quick. Yep, that is different. That's very different. So that's 388 thousandths. So I'm going to check that. Let's take that measurement. I'm going to pull this measurement up here. Put a leader on there. 0 inches, 388. Okay. So, yeah. We're off to, we got this sketched out. We're ready to go from here. The next thing we'll do is break it down into our components. And in the next video, we'll show you how to make this in CAD. All right, good luck. Have fun. As always, keep being awesome.